Back home, Parliament's Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy says that South Africa's neighbours have a role to play in tackling illegal mining. This after the Lesotho government informed South Africa that around 31 illegal miners believed to be Basotho nationals had apparently died in a disused mine in Welkom in the Freestate way back in May. The government and Harmony that used to operate the mine were working together this week around a search operation, but said yesterday that methane levels were too high to enter. We're now joined by the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, Salulele Luzipo. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Luzipo. What are your concerns at the moment?
Good evening to you, Francis, and your viewership. The first thing that I think it's important to raise is the fact that we are neighboring countries. We have a duty and a responsibility to ensure that we counteract all acts of criminality that are taking place within and outside our borders. One of the things that are quite critical in this case is that one of the greatest phenomenon of threat to national security, both in our country but also within the SADC region, is the element of illegal mining. For an example, one of the things that we have said was that any country that its own citizens could go and die in another country conducting acts of illegality, that country must be concerned about the fact that it might be seen or perceived as a seedbed of supplying criminal activity. But most critical is that one of the things that we have raised in this spectrum of illegal mining activities that is taking place in our country is the fact that at times young and call it slave acts of what we would call child labor or child trafficking is one of the major concerns that we should have. And it is why then we say, in as much as South Africa, because these activities are taking place within its borders, equally our neighboring countries must also ensure that they don't become, they don't be seen as also contributing to the situation that is taking place. And therefore, that is why we say any investigation that must take place, it must contextualize the crisis that we are having.
Yeah.
Its origin and interventions.
Mr. Luzipo, if I may come in, you raise an important point, because we're hearing of youngsters being told, young Basotho nationals being told that they can get a legitimate job in South Africa, but they come and they're underage and they're sent underground in these very dire conditions. So you've said that the South African government should strengthen border security. You mentioned that Lesotho should be concerned, but what would you like Lesotho to actually do about this situation?
Look, I made an example. For an example, I said, if you look at some point, Eastern Cape was the dominant province that was supplying labor, what we used to call migrant labor in the areas, and it was there for that reason that there was a demand that whatever you do in terms of development of beneficiation in the mining system, you can't ignore that. That was done legally. The point, therefore, was saying that if a country is, and I'm saying this with extreme caution, if a country is perceived to be supplying child labor under exploitative and slavery conditions, surely it should not just start with where the act is taking place, the act is taking place. It should start from the point of origin. How these children are being recruited from Lesotho, it should be a concern for the government of Lesotho. The mere fact that an individual can have guts and confidence to go and report to the government of Lesotho that 31 people have been kept underground, it should be the starting point of the government of Lesotho to say, how did those people happen to find their way in South Africa? Were they legal? If they were not legally, who are the responsible individuals that consisted? It could be South Africans, by the way. I'm not saying it must see it as Lesotho. But the point we're saying is that when there is cooperation between the two, especially the two countries in this incident, then we will be able to find the results. And in my view, beside the fact that there is this incident, that it now demands a closer working relationship based on this incident, it actually demonstrates that South Africa and Lesotho cannot ignore the issue of illegal mining and its consequences.
A quick comment. The Benchmarks Foundation, we spoke to them yesterday, and they said, and they're not the only ones who've said this, that if there was political will, these mine shafts could be rehabilitated, we could encourage small-scale operations, and local communities, in fact, could really benefit and get involved. That is the big idea. Is there political will for that?
Look, the question we must ask is, if you are saying that, we cannot seek unintentionally to justify criminal activity. The point here is that you don't have South Africans that are conducting illegal mining activities. That's the point one. Point two is that you've got a mine that has been rehabilitated. People would have then find ways and means on how to divert that process of rehabilitation. For an example, we can't say if for instance, Francis, you put a palisade fence in your house, and then people come through your house, and then somebody says, no, you should have put in a solid wall in order for those people not to come in. It doesn't mean you didn't put protection to make sure that no people can come and conduct criminal activities. The point here that one is driving is that when you look at this kind of an act, it is people, the starting point that it is people allegedly that are underground who are not South Africans. And therefore, that is the starting point to say, what do you do when your own citizens come from your own country and conduct illegal activity in another country? And I think that's the point that we must deal with it. And I'm saying we should not then treat Lesotho with contempt on the basis of that. We must just assist them to understand the gravity of the situation, which therefore poses that responsibilities, particularly on the two countries.
All right, thank you very much. That was Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, Salulele Luzipo.